Sitting here with the PlumDragon camera, which Lisa sent out to me. Rushed it out to Manila with some Jow and a couple of bottles of spring wine. If we were experiencing serious injuries, then probably rather than the spring wine, I would be taking some kind of internal deter one. But the spring wine will suffice, since so far we are mostly injury-free. Today there were no serious injuries. There wasn't really any serious bruising or blunt force trauma that we're going to have to deal with. I did do some pretty serious training with some of the other senior feeders students in the group, and of course that gets pretty rough. We broke a couple of sticks in the process of disarms and whatnot. I've got a number of scratches on my arm, a number of little tiny cuts and things here and there. I got one cut right over my eye, which is actually relatively uncommon for that type of thing to happen. But it brings up an interesting point that bruised liniments, injury liniments, are not usually used on cuts, because when we use the herbs that show up in injury liniments on a cut, it tends to keep the cut open as opposed to allowing it to heal, because we're dealing with herbs that are good for dispersing stagnation. If you're out on some kind of vacation somewhere and you do receive a serious laceration, it's very likely that you probably just want to go to the clinic. We do sell cut powders of all different varieties, but unless it's a serious cut, it's probably not a big deal. And if it is a serious cut, then you probably want to have it looked at anyway, and you use a cut powder just to deal with that cut until you can, get in to have it stitched up or whatever. Myself, I don't find the cut powders nearly as useful as something like having the Jow around. So, but with that said, all of the scratches and whatever that I received today are mild enough that tomorrow, when I go back into the next day of training, I'm going to just apply the Jow. They're going to be healed over a decent amount. They're not going to be something that I have to worry about getting a lot of Jow in or keeping that injury from healing. So probably I'm going to go with my normal regimen. That's it. That's kind of an interesting little piece that I didn't really expect to happen, because I've never really gotten cuts in the past. It's always been bruising.
No mess today. Gun holders, put your toes away. Have a drink on me, I got tricks to play. Twist, pop, straight shots, hand rock the day. It's still all good.